I am Will, proprietor of the fine establishment known as Moonlighter. Vendor by day, dungeon dweller by night, on a mission to restore this little shop to its former glory. Haggling customers, expected. Thieves with grabby hands, unavoidable but manageable. Brainwashed golems, a surprise, but not unheard of. For 100%, I'll need to juggle it all. 57 achievements from sweeping bosses with a broom to dabbling in investment banking. Welcome to 100% of Moonlighter. Hit with lore galore, dungeons with dwelling monsters, but more importantly, treasures appeared in the lands. Soon the slightly curious heroes and merchants took root near the dungeons in the village of Rhinoka, but plundering the dungeons claimed many lives, and they were ultimately closed off. This put Will in a bit of a pickle, though his dream of opening the mysterious fifth door remained alive. Who could have known diving deep into a pitch-black cave full of monsters could ever be considered dangerous? Fast forward to today, and I am Will, the merchant, out on another treasure hunting expedition in one of the dungeons still open for business. Ready to scavenge, the game threw me into a hieroglyphic tutorial. My main maneuver, a dodge roll for evasive purposes, and a weapon at any proficient shopkeeper's disposal.
Ooh, broom, cleaning house. Oh, brain slugs. Brr, brr, brr.
Popping the sluggish beans opened up a way forward to a room full of chests guarded by a green homunculus. He was no match for my finicky neatness, and his death unlocked treasure.
Open. My first chest. Broken sword? Thank you.
Naturally, I emptied the other chest before rolling into an ambush.
Let's see what we can do. Charge up. Bam! Oh! Ah!
My sweeping strikes kept missing, and the enemies kept multiplying.
Oh, I got sweaty real fast. Ah! And I fell down. And I'm back up.
Unfortunately, my knees buckled shortly after.
You're not supposed to live that, are you?
No, you're not. I was spat out the entrance of this interdimensional goo, where I was eventually picked up by a man named Xenon.
What a sorry-looking kid. Hey!
Words hurt. I woke up in my bed with the old man rummaging through my drawings. Rude. And overheard him comparing my obsessions to those of old Pete.
Oh, Pete. What a legend. Morning, boy. Did our little merchant bite off more than he could manage?
I didn't care for this geriatric's patronizing tone, but he offered his advice regardless. Stop risking your life. Go in, grab some artifacts from the dungeon, sell them in your store, and pop right out using your pendant. And that was some solid advice. There was even a Zelda reference, and he gave me a sword and shield to replace my poking broom before meeting me in the merchant's area. He explained the 2 pillars of microeconomics, and had prepared a practical example for me. So I opened the business to my first customer.
As you say, old man. Okay, what do we do now?
Now we wait for this fine customer to evaluate the price. And she seemed content.
Would that be all? Did you see that? Best expression you can hope for.
Their expressive mug gestures were all the information I needed to determine if we'd made a fair price assessment.
I don't think I need to tell you that that item was obviously overpriced.
He left me with a quest to restore Moonlighter to its former glory. This old man has taken an alarming interest in the well-being of my store. Let's hope his intentions are pure.
It's in your blood, Will. Make us proud. I will, Xenon.
Finally alone, I headed out toward my true calling.
Dungeons. This way.
Along the way, I smashed a few crates, and upon arriving a hero in mind, I got humbled pretty quick.
These are boarded up. Tech dungeon, no entry. Desert dungeon, only for heroes. Dungeon available to heroes, not recommended for merchants. Yeah, okay, who gives out the title of hero then? Golem dungeon. Dungeon available to merchants and heroes. Oh, how kind of you. How kind.
In the end, I had to settle for the Tenebrous Golem dungeon. The sword more than doubled my damage, so I could even handle 3 of these homunculi and nab a couple of twigs.
Ugh! A golem with a cape. Oh! Maybe I should block. First, you will need to learn how to block.
I picked my way through, tried out the shield, and popped a handful of tiny brain slugs, until I reached a dead end, judging by this poor sod's journaling efforts. A scuffle with the strange creature across the room had left him injured and his pendant shattered. When the mysterious man then tried to flee, he dropped a drawing of some kind, confirming this skeleton's thesis.
Whatever it is, I was right. They called me crazy, said old Crazy Pete done gone lost his marbles. Oh, this is Crazy Pete, but I was right. Each guardian of the dungeon must possess a key of sorts, all of them linked to that giant locked door outside the dungeon, the 5th door of Rhinoka.
Rummaging through his belongings, he seemed incredibly stressed by his apparent failure to let them all out. Mr. Big Boss was gonna be upset. I snagged his drawing and delayed teleporting back to town using the pendant Xenon kept blabbering about.
But I won't be going back anytime soon. Actually, it looks like I have to use it.
The ineffable horror of ending up like these two bosses drove me to use it right away after all. With the spoils of my dungeon crawl to the left and a triumphant display of my fallen foes to the right, I returned to town, where Xenon came rushing toward me, surprised I'd managed to find lost old Pete, if in a very stale and brittle state.
To shreds, you say? And how does his wife fare? To shreds, you say?
He used Crazy Pete as an example of what happens when you go chasing waterfalls, and once again reiterated, just get the damn artifacts!
Leave it, Will! Leave it!
I'm not even 5 minutes into this game, and I'm already suspecting Uncle Xenon of taking advantage of my youthful legs. And wouldn't you know it, his plan slipped from his lips. There are other merchants and business owners looking to move to Rhinoka. All they need is a little startup capital. The plot thickens. It was all posted on the town board, including a few upgrades from my own shop. Now, I didn't have enough cash for any handouts at the time, but I read their sales pitch nonetheless.
Do you feel the dungeons are too hard? Tired of your old weapon? I can solve that if you bring me enough money and materials a forge to be reckoned with. Okay.
I took a sightseeing walk, gossiped with the townfolk, admired the local architecture, and sat down for a warm conversation with Xenon, brimming with fascinating topics to explore. I then headed home, and before jumping into bed, I noticed I could put up new items for sale. It was just a matter of figuring out a price.
I don't have any idea how much I should sell an item for. I guess we just need to price it and then look at their faces? Is that it?
That is not entirely it. Hidden in my scrapbook is a general guideline for what each item is supposedly worth. Everything from high fashion fabric down to a single vine is worth somewhere in between 2 and 275 gold, depending on its popularity. Too bad I didn't know that, and instead heavily experimented with the prices. I only had 4 available slots, so the rest of my items I stored in one of my chests before jumping into Snoozeville, and the next morning was the grand opening.
Let's open the shop. Let's see what we have. Hello there, fellow traveler. You look like you know what you're getting.
Like a tractor beam, he headed for the crystal, but it looked like I might have overpriced my wares.
Bunch of cheap customers.
If there's one thing all merchants know, it's that the customer is always wrong. So I reluctantly slashed my prices.
A 5 can't be too much for you guys. Okay, what about now?
I butchered my margins, but such is the life of a new and much too green business owner. I kept the shop open for the rest of the day, moving product with a veritable set of prices and success until evening when I tallied up the score. A total profit of 213 gold, and if I ever wanted to pump those rookie numbers up, I would need to dive deep into the dungeons for some unique artifacts. So I zoomed my way back.
Oh, he grabbed me! I'm engulfed in a sea of slime, a cake.
That is one disgusting cake.
Quick move all. What's this? Destroys 1 artifact in direction shown upon returning to town. Remains hidden while currently in dungeon.
Those are cursed artifacts. Moving forward, I'll need to keep an eye out for any curses that could mess up my items, or my entire inventory.
Oh, no! Okay, I didn't lose much HP.
A bit overdramatic. A secret room held one of Pete's diaries, including the first entry mentioning the formation of the dungeons and how they seem to reset when you leave. He also noted most came for the artifacts, but not good old Pete. It was all about the mystery for him. I left crazy old Pete's scribbles and dove deeper into the cave, like literally.
Oh!
Back on both feet, I dodged rolled incoming orbs from these tin cans and almost fell down a trap door.
I know I can use the pendant. I don't want to use the... What is this? A fountain. You can bathe. Oh, it's a replenishing fountain. Very nice. Let's read the scroll. Why? Why do our tools keep disappearing? Chambers full of precious stones are left untouched, but rooms and chests holding our most basic tools keeps vanishing. Ah, that's the roguelite, bro. That's the roguelite mechanic. Haven't you ever played a roguelite?
Likely written from the perspective of the dungeon's creator, not another hero. Unbothered about it all, I melted away in this mineral-rich onsen.
A nice relaxing soak.
Nothing beats a spa treatment before you're about to be mauled to pieces by a golem of size.
Golem warrior. Ouch! What did you just do? Ouch again!
His fists erupted with a shockingly blue shockwave, and his conjured spiky hands slashed through the air. This was indeed a feisty golem of size, damaging me heavily.
Potion me! Potion me! Potion again! This guy shouldn't be a problem. And he's dead. He's not a problem. I tricked you all along.
You got majorly bamboozled. There's no question about it. Over-encumbered, I replaced a stack of vines in favor of a few hardened steel bars and then headed for the next door.
Golem Dungeon 2.
Old Pete had left another sprinkle of breadcrumbs. This time, a mirror.
Put things through the mirror?
you get gold. Simple and effective. Kind of like a quick sale on the go. Great for freeing up your inventory without wasting anything. Though I think it comes at a discount. Having ascended a level meant the monsters were now a lot more durable and dangerous. So I had to poke them a few extra times. I decided to make off while I was still ahead with this incredible haul of loot.
I only have 13 gold. Where did all the gold go?
Using the pendant came at a cost of 300 gold. And unfortunately, the pendant is a one-way ticket. There's no going back through the portal. So it was yet again back through the green gooey entrance, chasing treasure. Or perhaps it's the other way around.
Whoa! The chest is a monster! With a tongue! Slithering tongue!
And ironically, the chest monsters turn out to be the toughest enemies throughout the game. I treaded lightly after that traumatic encounter.
Are you a regular chest? Yes.
Each level of a dungeon has a set of rooms, and it seemed Crazy Old Pete has set up a study on each floor, which I thoroughly enjoyed taking part in, by the way.
I was attacked by a moving rock today. Can you imagine? A rock that moves? I did what any sensible person would do in this situation. And smacked it right back. Pete, good on you, bro.
And call it serendipity, because hugging this enticing corner earned me my first achievement.
Alright. Arrive at Crazy Pete's place. My first achievement. Hello.
I battled forward, collecting as I went, and obviously dipped a toe in the replenishing hot spring before sharpening my sword on the Golem warrior. A floor up, I found another chest, and discovered that I had somehow picked up a Golem baby slime egg. That's right, I'm gonna be a dad. That will surely be a headache, but right now the artifact curses would be the source of that.
Top or bottom of the bag? I mean, it's just annoying.
For my brain capacity, it sure was. What I deemed superfluous, I dematerialized for a petty penny, and by hubris, neglect, or just ignorance, I switched to adventure mode with a measly 16 HP left and no potions equipped.
Oh, what are you? Bop. Okay, do I need to...
That was the end of this crawl, losing all the items in my backpack. At least I got to keep this auxiliary cable, which was nice.
Brrr, death by misadventure. It just spits you out like the cockroach you are.
There was no other choice but to head back, grab what I had already extracted, and put it up for sale.
Let's go 75 for the broken swords, and hardened steel should be like 75 as well. Maybe even 100. How you doing, Granny?
Granny here was doing good. Real good by the looks of it.
Oh, that's a steel. That's a... Oh, no. Another steel.
A few revisions with a substantial price increase for hardened steel bars did absolutely nothing. They are all taking advantage of my good nature. Bloody greedy consumerists.
But you know, I'm an honorable man. I keep my word.
I closed the last of the sales and had a respectable profit margin for the day. 2,285 gold. Not bad. Then the dungeon would see my footsteps again, and this time I had the forethought to equip a couple of potions. I had trouble calculating the possible profits from the loot this early in the run. With so few items sold, there just wasn't enough data to go on, and the pendant felt too costly to use willy-nilly. I guess some of that consumerist greed had rubbed off on me. I made it to the second floor, but the old noodle was just not firing today. So many potential potions unused.
I died again! This game. Die with the inventory full of items.
All according to plan after all. But with no items, I wouldn't be a proud proprietor for much longer. So I headed straight back in and bagged a very successful golem fight. There was also something new. Not only another water squirting mechanic from this tin jug in cahoots with a blob putting me in jelly jail, but also a forest vortex. A peek into another dungeon.
Oh, keep your seeds for yourself. Dirty plant.
He was indeed dirty, and dropped a variety of leaves. The forest vortex was just a temporary opening, and I again saw the regular foes I was accustomed to, though they still kicked my ass.
Infuriating. I'm leaving.
I have always considered myself a pretty fast learner, but all evidence points to the contrary. If anything, I'm learning that I might be a bit slow. Anyway, I had already died a couple of times, and to achieve greatness, you need to beat the game with a sub 40 death count, and under 10 hours. I was obviously heading in the wrong direction.
I'm trapped. Well, the little brain slugs. Oh, come on. Am I not even a recommended difficulty kind of player?
That looked to be the sad reality. One of the issues I was having was the attack animation. You couldn't cancel it with a dodge roll, something I had gotten used to in Cult of the Lamb.
Small brain slugs. They are kind of worthless without their papa slug.
Bold words from someone who just died to one of those tiny brain slugs.
You know, a potion or two wouldn't be bad. Would kind of help in this situation. So the question is, should I use the pendant?
An entirely unnecessary question with the element of hindsight.
Oh, yes. Yes, we should really use the pendant. Otherwise, we're gonna die. Go. Go, 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 go. How much does it cost? A couple of hundred?
My first reasonable thought in quite some time. Next day, I did some inventory.
Ancient pot. That's gonna be nice. Gold runes. And fabric. Fabric is obviously going to be very valuable.
I based all that on absolutely nothing. I changed my stratagem for the day and put up one item of each type to sniff out what everyone was willing to pay.
We're just investigating prices right now. I mean, empowering. It's got to be at least 500, right? Got to be at least 500. Welcome, everybody. Oh, is he a knight?
A fella entirely uninterested in my wares. He would meander around for a while and then leave. Nothing sparked his transactional curiosity. Things were still a bit too pricey, so I lowered the cost of the empowering crystals, golem cores, and hardened steel bars as well.
Ah, the fabric though. Right, fabric, 250. What do you want? You want potions, you want weapons, you want helmets?
Nothing I currently carried or had in the back. I revised a bit further, increasing steel to 350, lowering the empowering crystals to 100, and this time I made sure to restock the shelves. After all, there were still plenty of items to move.
Golem core, you can't get better, sir. Or ma'am. There we go. Golem core, 100 each.
Raking in the sales earned me the Saver achievement, and with it, I dreamed of upgrading my store soon.
Haven't sold any whetstone. A whetstone, I mean, you use it to sharpen up your weapons. Let's say 50 is a good starting off point. It's a starting off point, okay? It's a starting off point. Oh, there we go. Everybody's happy.
Success begets success, earning me the accolades of a good merchant. I even tried a new sales pitch with promising results.
Don't meander and buy. Buy.
You too can become an elite salesman just like me. All you have to do is like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. The rest of the day went smoothly, with a record of 5,100 gold, offloading more than half of my items. So it was back to the dungeons, looking for new loot to sell. It went fairly well, with an occasional mishap here and there. And of course, a massive soak just before the boss fight. In fact, from now on, you can assume I always dip my toes in the jacuzzi before a big boss fight.
I dodged that. I did. You don't believe me? I did. I pressed the button. It's almost like I want to change the key bindings, actually.
And so I did. Dodging was currently bound to left trigger, where in most other games it's mapped to A. You can imagine the mental misfires that caused. Among the negative curses, I also noticed positive artifact curses, like this one, destroying one curse in the direction shown when placed. With a little finicky inventory shuffling, I could happily remove this hammer curse that would otherwise destroy an artifact upon returning to town. At this point, keeping the inventory clean and sorted was a minigame in itself, though I managed to send an item directly to one of my chests with a home curse. Very handy. Menacing bouncing boulders were big trouble, vulnerable only after being tricked into a self-inflicted concussion.
What is that? There's a green icon in the... just as an eye. What the Oh! What? No! What was that? I just got so scared and I killed myself. No. This is not okay.
In a bit of a rut and self-pity, I had no other choice but to keep banging my head against this figurative golem wall. I found a potion from a fellow fallen merchant, and the golem of size was at least becoming more manageable. I reached the second floor boss for the first time, and might have underestimated the damage output from this corrupted golem warrior. Also of size, by the way.
That's it. I'm lowering the difficulty. I am. What a disgrace. God, no, I can't be that guy. I'm not gonna, no. We go again.
Again, soaked and ready to go, I faced the corrupt and massive rock.
I'm using the pendant. Oh, nip and tuck in the 11th hour.
Back home, I saw my 2 eggs incubating in the pen and then went to the town board, investing in the wooden hat, offering both potions and enchantments. I was mainly after the potions. But first, I had to get past the defenses of this preoccupied bookworm.
What do you want to craft today? Potions. Oh, there are big potions and there are small potions.
I could either buy a heavily overpriced potion that didn't require any ingredients, or I could supply the rich jelly I had acquired during my raids and get a huge discount. I chose the latter and crafted 11 small potions that would restore 40 out of my 100 health points.
Thank you. I need all I can get.
That was very true. I had died too many times for lack of a potion, or usage. But that's a thing of the past now.
Get money from a tree once.
Yay! I spent the rest of the day retailing a few supplies, and the day ended with sales over 6,000 gold. Just outside, in the critter pen, one of my eggs had hatched, giving me a tiny flying golem companion. When he wasn't busy bonking into enemies, he collected items, a truly productive menace.
Thank you, Golem. Thank you. At least you know what I need. I just need a helping hand, somebody to hold my hand, Someone to tell me that I'm great. I'm doing a good job.
What are tiny flying magical little golems for if not positive affirmations?
I f***ing hate this game.
I did in fact not hate this game, though I was a bit irritated with my lack of progress. So I went to bed, not to lose the enormous stride I'd made so far.
I think I want to save this crappy progress. I can't even call it progress.
The next day, I woke up in a better mood.
Get up, sleepyhead. We got dungeons to raid, dungeons to crawl. There will be no dilly-dally this time.
Reinvigorated, I would bide my time, easing into higher agility and speed. I even used a potion while fighting the golem. Now that's growth. Too bad I didn't bring enough, but I made strides in other ways.
Oh, and I fall down into a secret chamber. Hello. What are these, trash bags? Let's just recycle ourselves, because we're trash.
Unfortunately, the trash cans were already full, so I climbed back up using the rope and ended up in a maelstrom. Jet streams of water impaired me while I was chased by homunculi in an overly zealous treasure chest. Luckily, I escaped with my life and could stow away the haul of my latest expedition, before jumping right back into another fast-paced dungeon crawl.
If I just take time to learn their patterns, this is probably not going to be an issue. But I'm determined to just go through this game without thinking. That's generally how I go about life. Oh, I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the pendant and we're gonna do this again. Because we need to level up. We need all these items.
The shop hadn't been open for days, so at this point we needed a spectacular grand reopening, which is why I renovated, upgrading to shop level 1. Beyond a spatial expansion, it offered the possibility to decorate your shop.
See? I'm employing the people of the town. I'm bringing in work. This is how you expand your community and take care of your community. Thank you, handyman.
He could see that I was rather unimpressed by the new book cover, but beauty is on the inside, and boy had he done a good job.
Is this supposed to mean something?
Customers now left a generous tip, and with the establishment's rising reputation, it would attract wealthier patrons, the kind who'd happily pay a hefty markup on items. Scrumptious, to say the least. A great day starts with preparing the floor, and I benched the empowering crystals for now, since they could be used for enchanting items down at the wooden hat.
You got it. You got it. We're popping off, you got it.
32 customers visited my shop that day, and surprisingly...
There was a bandit? Is that a bandit? A thief? The perfect crime as well, because I didn't see anything.
You always have to calculate for a bit of waste, right? Flush with 28,000 clams, I made another disguised communal investment, this time in Vulcan's Forge.
My name is Andre, Forge Master, Extraordinaire, Rap God, Songwriter, Producer. If it's weapons or armor you seek, or perhaps a song, Vulcan's Forge is the place to go. Ah, okay. Now we actually need items that I've already sold. What a predicament.
Indeed, I've made some terrible decisions so far.
Look at the prices. 512,000? I'm gonna need to franchise my shop if I'm ever gonna be able to afford these prices.
Or at least come up with a get-rich-quick scheme. Franchising sounds like too much work. I found that you can wishlist items. This was great, as it marked the materials you needed with a star. And I now changed how I approached dungeons and began using the pendant more freely, almost willy-nilly if you will. This is where it all started to loosen up a bit. I finally got into the habit of using potions, perhaps because I had more of them thanks to the wooden hat. And a nifty trick was also to take a second soak after your pre-boss fight soak, kind of like a post-soak. And I had just mastered the Corrupt Mineral Man for the first time, which gave me entry to
Golem Dungeon 3. Oh, yes.
This slam dunk earned me another strange item dropped by the Jelly Stranger. I'm a bit puzzled as to why he ran away dropping all these items, only to head back to die next to Crazy Pete. Anyway, it was another portal with a big win attached, meaning the portal would now remain open for a resupply and inventory cleanup run. This portal proved vital for earning some of the harder achievements down the line. Simply amazing, very convenient. Reaching floor number 3 meant rarer artifacts in the form of books and schematics, which I'd previously managed to sell for over 500 gold each. The inventory, however, was more cramped than ever, so I had to spend some time vetting what items were worth keeping. This is probably why the big time blob monster appeared before me yet again.
What? No! Just go through this. I don't care.
Stopping to read a book while being chased by a ghostly monster is not the brightest idea. But since it was tied to an achievement for finding all of Pete's notes, I found it absolutely necessary. I then found a sword hiding under a skeleton and was once again driven out by a pack of water-squirting tin cans. Ah! This nudged me towards Vulcan's Forge. Not for a blacksmith internship, but to upgrade our training sword into a fully fledged soldier short sword with an extra 50 attack.
Ooh. Oh, it's so much easier now. The damage, right? It's just one-hit wonders. Have I just doubled the attack? So, like my previous crit is now a regular attack. That's insane.
That is indeed insane, considering it's my very first upgrade. I spotted a sparkling light, so naturally I dove headfirst into a hidden chasm, activating a mysterious pillar.
Oh!
The scene was reminiscent of the gruesome slaughter that opened the game, but this time with a much happier ending. All spectacularly dispatched, I unlocked the much so unspectacular chest.
Wow, amazing.
The first golem was now a walk in the park. I could probably have taken him down without this tentative defensive pause, and the second one, though a little tougher, was also non-issue. This shimmering chest looked resplendent, but of course I was punished with a full inventory for my hoarding ways. I sent home what I could by finessing a curse. Very handy, but then reached another room with an even rarer chest and faced the same dilemma.
Oh, ring! Anti-confusion amulet.
It did in fact not make me any less confused.
Ring that grants its wearer enough stoicism to resist shocking attacks.
Not entirely sure what a shocking attack was, but apparently I'm now immune to stun attacks.
Today we introduce our stone golems. It doesn't stop the chambers from vanishing, but at least they will give our thieves a good thrashing in the process. Someone is actually upgrading and keeping tabs on this dungeon.
A disturbing thought, considering the entire village is under the impression that we're all just merchants and heroes going about our day. It's all a matter of perspective, I suppose. In the next room, I found a more decorative door than usual.
That's gonna be the final boss.
It was of vital importance that I didn't go barging through without setting myself up for success. And it all started with using the merchant emblem, earning me a cheeky achievement. I was also very impressed by the door portal.
Ooh!
2 of the hardest achievements were on the line. Killing the boss without getting hit, and finishing it off with your broom. The problem is, you only get one shot. Get hit and die, and the next attempt doesn't count. Take a hit and still finish the boss, also doesn't count. There are no retries. He won't spawn again. But if you cleverly set up a portal, make a snoozing save, and head back to the penultimate room, you can hypothetically get as many tries as you need by reloading the game, should you fail. And you, as in I, will fail. A lot.
Alright, Will. This is what we've been training for. All those deaths, all those rounds in the dungeons. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's a giant golem with a brain slug on it! The Golem King.
He was clearly brainwashed and slammed his one and only good limb, causing a fissure. He also beamed me with goo projectiles and swept his throbbing jelly across the room. I managed to get a few dusting punches in while he launched a rock into orbit, only to crash it down on me again and again.
Oof. What? Scary. Oh, and I died. What? No. It's not saving. I hope it's not saving when I did that. Oh, it's me. I think I need to play the game from scratch now.
A wave of melancholy hit me when I realized my mistake might cost me the entire run.
Let's see what happens. Please, 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 please. I think we're screwed. We're screwed. I need to play the game from scratch. Which, I mean, I haven't gotten that far. But come on, man!
That was a mission for another day. Another time. Which, coincidentally for you, is now. So, due to that epic failure of not reloading the game quick enough, I had to thrash my way through all over again. I followed almost the same path, investing in both the forge and the wooden hat, but this time I quickly got myself a bow and saved up for a sword upgrade as well. One of the hidden rooms I found held an already empty chest, but surprisingly, it could still be used to send home items, another handy find. And I made things a bit more interesting by taking on the golem and the green blob thing at the same time, and soon had enough to buy an iron helmet, increasing my health by a staggering 40%. The dungeon crawls continued, and I made it back to the 3rd floor, picked up the emblem, and set up the portal once more. Got my broom, had a good night's saving sleep, and stood before the rocky slug once again. And ultimately, it only took me about an hour and 15 minutes to get back to this point, and in a much better position. I cast a few swings, immediately got slapped in the face by his jelly arm, and was almost flattened by his rocket fist. It all worked out great though, a perfect opportunity to finally test reloading the game properly this time. And to the delight of my eyes, there he was still, in all his brainwashed jelly. I took a couple of early hits, but was adamant I'd bag this achievement quickly.
I mean, this shouldn't be so hard. I mean, I can do this. I can do this.
I double-checked what devastating impact my broom would dish out. Mostly a tickling effect, to be honest. Might as well have replaced it with a feather. For now, I used potions to stay alive and get a feel for the encounter.
I basically have him. I already basically have him. This is like my 5th try. He's dead.
This was only attempt number 6, mind you, when I still had some positive fuel left in the tank. And number 8 was a good one. I was on the verge of breaking through.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine again.
Though I did a not-so-fine dodge roll right into his gauntlet.
That just shows we got this. We got him.
My mind was spinning with possible scenarios for my potential downfall, so I opted to remove my heroic tin bucket companion, just in case he landed the final blow and would ruin the celebrations.
I'm getting reckless. I'm getting sloppy. Focus up. 100% focus.
His protruding jelly arm never gave any hint for when it would fire. All I could do was count from the moment he picked it up.
3, 4, 5, 6.
It may look like it didn't work, but that's just because the fissure blocked my way, promise.
Oh, that's perfect. That's that's just great. What am I doing wrong? Ah!
The slime itself wasn't the problem, easily avoidable, but the aftershock confused me.
4, 5, 6. Ja, det funkade.
Whipping out the moon language always work. For a while.
I was weak. You're a weak man. Oh no! Sätt på dig dina big boy pants. Fan, du har redan på dig dem. Ja, då får du ta på dig t-shirten också. I'm stuck. No. Oh god, I hope I didn't.
Luckily, I didn't ruin anything. Try number 35, that's when things got serious. Dodge rolls, jelly evading maneuvers, critical hits, frantic, erratic, and somewhat directionless movements, and one janitorial sweep.
Come on! Come on! Defeat the Golem King? Let's see if there's 2 more. I think there's supposed to be 2 more achievements. Perfect, Golem King. Let there be another one. Let there be a 3rd one. Come on.
I waited so long that a large, tasty-looking chest magically appeared, but no brooming achievement. Calmly, I threw out a few questions.
Where's the broom one? I did kill him with the broom. Didn't I? Kill all bosses with the broom.
So that achievement demanded a bit more work. I took a peek around the room, played a bit of football with a spherical white mystery ball before claiming the chest. It was filled with books and...
Ooh, a watch. Golem King amulet.
I took the conveniently appearing portal leading to the 5th door, where I witnessed one of the 4 locks magically unlock. Looks like there are 3 more dungeons before it's fully unsealed.
Old man, what do you have to say?
Surprisingly well informed about my recent endeavors. He already knew about the golem slaying.
Boy, you put yourself in such unnecessary danger. But damn, are you good? A lock on the door opened?
Yes, indeed. Pete really knew his stuff. Cena was a bit contradictory, telling me to focus on Moonlighter, but to also stock up on new gear from the forge before heading into the forge dungeon.
But stock up on supplies before you go. I won't have your demise on my shoulders, boy. He does it again! You're mental, old man. You're mental.
So, the forge dungeon had now opened, courtesy of the town's handyman, the jack of all trades. Drowning myself in paperwork, Pete's drawing had now somehow updated, confirming there were 3 dungeons left to ravage. I then wisely divided my items into 2 categories, crafting material and sellable slop. I equipped the Golem King amulet for a health boost, at the expense for a little movement speed, and then opened the shop for the hungry consumer. With the shop open, I once again tried to hustle the empowering crystals since I had a whole bunch of them.
Oh, that was a bargain. 25 was a bargain. Don't do that. 50 was a bargain. Okay.
But I, of course, honored the sale of this holy and binding contract between vendor and consumer.
Granny pays the fair price. Thank you, Granny.
I eventually figured out that 100 gold was a suitable price for the crystals. And I had sold a few Golem volumes for around 400 gold, so the Golem History Volume 1 edition was equally priced.
Check it out. Golem History 1. 400 was a bargain. No!
To my surprise, even at a high 1200, it was still a classified bargain.
I'm practically giving away these wares.
So I tried another approach with the Golem schematics, exaggeratingly bumping up the price to swindling heights.
Okay, that was way too high. That's just half the price. It's half off. It's half off, people. Okay.
Closing for the day, I headed out to the forest dungeon, and first order of business was squishing this frog. Because squishing frogs always bring good luck. In this swampy forest dwelled green homunculi instead of turquoise ones, and other enemies of a leafy composition.
We're just gonna get a bunch of seeds, modified seeds, fertilizer, yeah, poop. Stuffing my bags with poop.
A most regular occurrence for the kinds of games I've been playing lately. Adjacent, I found the next type of door vortex, and it looked very sandy. Fittingly, the enemies were mechanical piles of junk, which made them extremely durable. Perhaps their tough exterior dulled my sword. In familiar parts again, I found a familiar camp.
Oh, Crazy Pete's hideout. Patents! Oh yes, these dungeons do indeed have patents. Patterns!
Pete's keen eye had noticed the dungeon's patterns, like the well-placed hot spring before the next flight of stairs, not only to heal but to guide you toward treasure.
It's a game! Someone is playing a game. We're on the Truman Show.
We're most certainly being watched. Someone had spilled poisonous goo all over the floor in the next room, and a funky helicopter grape dropped me 2 pieces of wood. Oh, and I was also followed by an upside-down mushroom top. Truly scenes from a psychedelic dream. Another note by this geothermal spring complained about a thief stealing research tools. Could it be they were talking about me? Anyway, after a cleansing session, I turned around and explored the first floor a bit more.
What? Orange goo? The worst kind of goo.
Obviously dropping orange jelly. I reached a dead end, so I thrust myself into the roots of the forest, fighting a tree fleeing deadly fruit my way.
It's getting freaky.
He danced and dispensed a whole lot of fruit until I lost patience and chopped him down. My inventory was again cramped, so I made the sound decision to dip out.
I'm also supposed to complete this game under 10 hours. Not sure if this is the best way to do it.
Probably not, but I was beginning to realize it'd be impossible to complete 100% of this game in under 10 hours on my first playthrough anyway. Inventory space was now maxed out, so I bought a small chest from the town board, emptied my last haul, and headed back in, and it got even weirder.
Fungi frog.
I needed new boots, and these iron ones suited me nicely. I also eyed a suitable chest piece, though I lacked the necessary materials, mainly foundry rests, and those can only be found in the Golem dungeon. So off I went. After my first run, I could afford the fabric chest piece, enhancing both HP and movement speed. I even had enough materials for the iron helmet upgrade. But the price was steep, way steep, like I'll never be able to afford this steep, 44,000 gold steep. And then I did something I don't understand. I put my helmet up for sale. I must have forgotten I needed it for the next upgrade. But it was also my one and only helmet? Honestly, sometimes I can be such an idiot. Fortunately for this idiot, there were no other idiots willing to pay the outrageous 10,000 gold I asked for. Nevertheless, this idiot still left it on the shelves before going for another dungeon crawl. So back in the forest again, I've wrestled with fungi shooting frogs and seed-firing plants. Pair that with a vine-slinging abomination and a leaf-throwing root vegetable, and you've got a lethal combination. But it was the corrupted mango tree on the second floor that put a dent in my progress with its extra sticky goo juice. With stagnating progress in the old coal mines, I focused on Moonlighter, upgrading it to a shiny new level and adding a new cash register to solicit an extra 10% tip per sale, plus a cheap sale box for items with a 75% discount. That is some outrageous pricing. That's a steal, that is.
Pure acid. The rich people's gonna need some acid, I'm sure of it.
So I immediately put the acid up for sale, 200 gold a piece. Questionable ethics selling acid. But when your regular business is failing, you have to get creative. And someone picked it up right away. No one wanted my 10,000 gold iron helmet though.
Okay, so the acid was way underpriced.
These acid connoisseurs sure had money to spare. Several price cuts and discounts later, my helmet finally sold for 4,000 gold. Not a very lucrative deal, considering crafting it alone cost 4,000. I basically swindled myself. Add another self-swindle to the bundle and I googled the price list. No, it's not cheating. Everyone in this world has a reference point for items, materials, resources, goods, and produce. Except me, Will, the actual shop owner. I think it's only fair I have some knowledge at hand. And sure, yes, I basically do in the journal. But I didn't know that, so you know, you could just off.
I sold them for 105, and I think the perfect price is like 1,000 for the fertile soil.
Yeah, I'd been way off on so many items that it's a miracle I hadn't declared bankruptcy already. Though the remnants of my past ignorance lingered, and I earned the naive merchant achievement, and rightly so. But the foot traffic had produced a new high, over 45,000 gold worth of merchandise sold.
Now that was a fruitful day. That should mean I should be able to buy like the crown I was talking about. 44,000.
Yeah, I didn't think you need that iron helmet for the upgrade, did you? Stupid head. That meant foundry rests again, which meant raiding the Golem dungeon again. But you know, it wasn't all bad. I got to tick off a few achievements doing so, though the accolades kind of felt like proof that I had been incredibly inefficient so far. It's a lot of back and forth feelings right now. Yeah, I have feelings, shocker. I played cat and mouse with a rolling round idiot, which became a dead idiot. And this was the first time reaching the boss room after having killed the Golem King. So, no king. But 3 chests sinking in the green goo I've come to love.
You get more chests if you do this quickly, okay. I'm not quick though.
Quick enough to salvage 2 out of 3, missing the most valuable one. The portal conveniently showed up again, letting me head back and gather myself for the next morning. So, basically in a day, I'd do a dungeon dive, grab as many artifacts as I could, rudely leave, open the shop for business, rinse, and repeat, all while climbing the ranks in the current dungeon. It pains me that we're well over 30 minutes into this video, and I'm just now explaining the loop of this rather simple game sequence.
Arrived to the 3rd floor of the Golem dungeon 10 times!
And so I hit the Golem residence again and again, focusing on gathering foundry rests and other materials needed to acquire all tier 1 gear, setting myself up nicely for my return to the forest dungeon. I got the iron and steel chest plate, paired it with a set of fabric boots, and this time stored it all safely away from my prying fingers. One day was spent selling expensive books and schematics, because knowledge is power. And for reasons unknown, this totally decked out guy bought the fabric chestplate. Must have been looking for a more agile suit. But business was booming. Each day outperformed the last. So with a bag full of cash, I invested in Le Retailer. Yeah, that was butchered. A seemingly direct competitor to Moonlighter.
Oh, so many worthless items that I don't need.
And Hawker, offering a variety of decor and decorations. Reckless with this month's expenditure, I also invested in a little something for myself. Shop level 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was supposed to illustrate, but this part was pretty clear. Displaying an item in a glass box both elevated its perceived value and added an extra layer of grabby hands repellent. During this productive hot streak, I found a barrier amulet, adding a free screw up to my health bar, and I had geared up from head to toe, reaching almost 300 health. On top of that, I enchanted my chest and boots for a 35 plus armor increase, at the cost of a little movement speed.
Let's see what happens with the for sale box. I thought she was going for the bargains right away. Is she? No.
Without my knowledge, customers scooped up a bargain or two.
Are people just stealing these stuff? I'm not selling them.
The box had a self-checkout counter, very handy for an overwhelmed business owner on the move. I got all but the very last tier 1 boxing glove, and decided to do another golem crawl. And as luck would have it, I found all the foundry rests I needed to complete the set. After a hard day's work and a good night's sleep, I could finally go back where I felt I belonged. The forest dungeon. The extra health points really helped, though I felt my sword was a little dull, especially when heaving at this corrupt Mabo tree.
I need a new weapon. This is ridiculous.
My current gear managed to carry me all the way to level 3 before I was overrun.
Walla balla walla. Let's leave. Let's leave.
Lacking that little bit of DPS, I turned to Vulcan. I had what I needed for a slashing upgrade, but I lacked the funding, which meant thrift shopping for gold, through murder and theft. It was a good slaughter, sending home a chunk of my haul halfway through, and I pushed a little further before heading home for an afternoon of retail.
This guy's a bandit. Got my eyes on you, boy.
He instinctively went for the funky mushrooms, rotten junkies.
Give me that.
By now I had seen my fair share of grabby hands, so there was no cause for concern. I kept the shop open.
Talk. Could you gather 5 modified seeds and bring them to me in 3 days? It's like a quest. Hell yeah, 15,000. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can, and I will. There's a specific counter for talking. You don't talk over here. You buy things over here. And then you can go to the right and we'll talk, okay?
They call me the shop Nazi. At closing time, I'd sold over 50,000 worth of wares, but it still wasn't enough for the upgrade. So I had to put my life on the line again, and keep an eye out for those modified seeds to fulfill the order.
Modified seeds. I got him. I got him.
I stocked up on potions, opened the shop, tussled with a thief, and finally had enough of the green stuff to buy the Knight short sword, adding a massive 100 to my attack power. The universe knew I was ready for a challenge, and literally guided me through the dungeon, just like Pete said. I felt strong, confident, and ready.
Oh yes. I think I am. Mamma mia!
I placed my feet upon frog and snail, whittled away at this tree, and the forest panicked with a spore retaliation, exploiting my pollen allergies. But to no avail, as my nostrils were loaded with antihistamines. My new combat prowess brought me to the heart of the forest. A teleport here, a frantic inventory dive there, and a 32,000 gold sword enchantment later, boosting my attack power to 175, and I was ready to face whatever monstrous vegetation the forest could conjure.
Ah, that stem is not going to be a... Those tentacles might be a problem, though.
And that soft, fleshy bulb might also add to the problem.
Oh, did you know what I forgot? Do you know what I forgot? I forgot the broom.
I dodged his spore-shooting spores, and after a dance of tentacles, I reloaded to fetch my janitorial equipment. I embraced the giant bulb, only letting go of the hug when absolutely necessary, like dodging this ferocious leap, or narrowly avoiding another pollen explosion. I took a few hits, but this felt manageable. In case you forgot, I had to do it unharmed with a sweeping finish.
I mean, this is not gonna be a problem. This is not gonna be a problem. Is this gonna be a problem? I don't think so.
I was biding my time with the spores, but a dash of daredevil bravado spelled my calamity when I got a little too excited swinging the broom. But that swept me into a brilliant idea, to enchant the broom, a monumental step toward greatness, brought down by the realization that each upgrade only enhanced my movement speed. There was nothing else to do but keep gnawing away at his health bar until the broom could make the difference. And there's always this dip in performance after a while. You start off having fun, goofing around, get real close to finishing it off early, and then whammo! Demise after demise, trying to crawl back to form.
Come on, stop trying to shoot me, shoot me. Whoop! I'm still in the game, I'm still in the game. Up! I'm still in the game. Whoop! Oh, I'm still in the game! Get him! Oh! Defeat carnivore, prune the plant. Prune the plant, prune.
That is the second key acquired, and the second perfect boss sweep. What a milestone. A new resplendent chest appeared, filled with a hefty amount of reading material and a new wearable, the carnivorous Mutai. I put it away, never to give it a second look again. The second lock on the mysterious door was undone, and Xenon came with thoughts.
Boy.
Thoughts of concern, of course. Worried I was risking too much defeating the Guardians.
Your grandfather would be worried sick if he was still around. Well, you kind of look like a grandfather. You could be my grandfather if you'd like.
But behind the wrinkles was pride for my accomplishments. Muttering under his breath, he cursed the village as he informed me about the opening of the desert dungeon, urging me to stay away and focus on Moonlighter's expansion.
Don't you get it, Grampy? The dungeons, they call out my name. Will Moonlighter devour us?
Just like this fair maiden devouring me with her aptitude for good conversation.
I dug up another old recipe using desert dungeon resources. Good for you.
Before facing the coarse sands of the desert, I sniffed around the forest a few more times, grabbing as many items and trampling as many frogs as I possibly could. There was also the mystery of the jelly.
It intrigues me, and I question why the small little jelly beans have more jelly than the big ones.
My giant feet mangled their way through, and I dipped in and out using the emblem until I ran out of money, forcing me to use the mirror for a possibly emergency pendant fund. I did well to salvage all 3 chests at the end of the road, but as usual, my inventory was already filled to the brim. But worry not, as I discovered I could grab the Portal of Champions, haul out my giving loot, jump back in, raid the chests, and leave again with the pendant. I had so many items collected now that I had to think about moving the merchandise.
I'm gonna crank it up all the way to 6,000 cash dollar gold thingies. And people will buy it.
People didn't buy it. It was too expensive. Though dishing out 5,000 for poop was apparently of no issue for this gentleman. While excited for a delivery proposal, 5 ancient wood for 20,000, I accidentally declined his generous offer. So I ramped up sales to cover the loss.
Sold! 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 Look at all the product that I've moved.
That's a retirement-worthy fund right there. With only one town investment left on the board, I financed an investment banker and got really concerned when Frankenstein, the handyman, assembled the individual himself. I didn't have the guts to go near that monster, so instead I renovated the shop to level 3, and the upgrade came with its own human.
Hi, Will. Hey. You?
She, who shall remain nameless, offered to run the shop for 30% of the profits, leaving me free to dungeon crawl, and she promised to catch any looming thieves. But I wasn't about to hand over my baby to some stranger, especially not for a massive 30% cut. More and more heroes entered the shop, which made me think I was doing something wrong, as I never had any weapons or gear in stock, and I wasn't finding any during my crawls either. I accepted a boatload of orders, 2 of which requested 10 notes from specific minions. These quests turned out to be incredibly annoying, and I would eventually never accept them again. This also reminded me of the gentleman requesting modified seeds. He never came to collect. I later realized I had missed the delivery date, keeping the shop closed for several days in a row. I'm not a very reliable supplier, don't hire me. After an entirely revamped inventory restructure, a definitive forest crawl, and squeezing the last gold from these trees, I upgraded both my chest and smelly feet to tier 2, giving me a healthy health bump. Then I talked to Alan. Alan made some rather hefty promises about his decorations awakening otherwise dormant feelings. Bold claims, Alan. Bold claims. I believe these decorations to be purely cosmetic, though they all provided a perk if displayed in the shop. Anyway, I bought as many as I could afford.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes.
Now that I had my tier 2 armor and some pocket change, I was ready to go where heroes go.
Desert dungeon, only for heroes. Don't worry, I'm a shop owner.
I think my accomplishments so far have earned me the right to call myself a hero. And if not, please point me to a vendor where I can buy the necessary credentials. The place reeked of insecurity. Foes fully covered in waving fabric and giant balls of steel trying to run me over. Pete had clearly been busy, uncovering a flaw in the dungeon design. The treasure drew people in, but the guards were there to drive them back. Data entry 103 over by the pool area held the answer to Pete's question. With tools vanishing left and right, the ominous dungeon creators had launched a guard program, a deterrent meant to intimidate any would-be thieves. And if Hexa here is anything to go by, I'd say they've done a pretty lousy job. But that's not something you could say about the upgrades on floor number 2, and definitely not about the updated firmware of miscorrupted Hexa here.
Damn, that actually hurt. I need more items. I need new items.
It was February the 14th when I happened to pull out my almanac and discovered I had an order to fulfill that very day. So, in an otherwise empty shop, I made the deal. 5 old bulbs for a cool 30,000. That was all the Moonlighter wrote that day, and I heard back to my trials and tribunals. This jet-packed puppet master was a hard catch, but after disposing of a couple of iron balls, I got a taste of what the 4th dungeon had to offer. More 4-legged freaks, though these ones were unapologetic about their appearance and had swapped fire for electricity. I would come to miss the fire beetles later. I played a little hide and seek, found a fancy garbage chute, dodged a fireball while dancing with jelly, and after evading a rotational laser beam, dipped out, securing a nice haul of loot. Diving back in, I cleared my path of steel obstacles and a designated desert food. I used the pendant just before the second floor boss for a second successful haul. Initially, I valued the wares on the floor at about 130,000, but after restocking, I sold well over 200k that day. I tried satisfying a customer by agreeing to collect 10 notes from a blade tree. Hard to find, and they didn't even have a 100% drop rate. So I concluded yet again it wasn't worth my time or energy. No more of those side quests.
My assistant is basically just a security guard on the lookout for thieves. That's all she does. And I'm not even paying her. She came with the upgrade, didn't she? She came with the upgrade. Part of the house, part of the staff, part of the house, part of the staff, part of the house, part of the staff.
After a long day moving the forest merchandise, I decorated the shop. And the perks yielded even higher customer tips, longer working hours, not sure that's a perk, and slightly delayed deliveries, among other things. I mean, I slapped the entire shop with decorations. Then I slapped Andre with 352,000 gold in exchange for a better sword and a fine pair of iron boots, both tier 3. And my spending spree wasn't even done. I also walked over to Erin, enhancing both pieces for even greater attack power and defensive stats. And I threw in a gigantic batch of potions as well. These upgrades were the catalyst for the proceeding dismantlement of this troublesome rust bucket, bringing me to floor level 3.
There we go. Surrender to Will, the shopkeeper of Moonlighter, the shop owner, the merchant. I am but a humble merchant.
Humbled by a ravenous chest, whose inside spewed out a lot of potions. A new floor established new challenges, even with the tasty gear upgrades.
I don't think I'm ready for the last boss here.
Made even more evident by my almost decapitation.
Ouch.
I avoided death and rummaged through every chest I could find, securing a few key pieces for the steel chestplate level 3, bankrupting me in the process. With almost nothing left in the back, I had to resort to selling the lesser of my potions and other scraps I'd managed to scavenge. I might have declined a notes quest for the forest dungeon, but I accepted one for the desert dungeon. After all, that's where I spend most of my days anyway, so couldn't hurt. Not like this traumatizing event when my thumbs did absolutely nothing right.
I mean, come on. You!
I was adamant about acquiring the last tier 3 piece before facing the dungeon keeper, so I kept going, applying a more careful approach to the 3rd floor, not to die and waste any items. Upon returning through the portal, I discovered the map was suddenly uncovered for me. Now I wouldn't mindlessly charge the boss at this time since the emblem was out of juice, but I could still sweep the remaining roofs with chests to flip a bit of goods.
Those are a little bit tricky. They are tricky. They are tricky, I'm not gonna lie.
Mainly focusing on the materials required for my upgrades, I did a series of runs, neglecting everything shop related.
I'm kind of neglecting what day of the week it is.
4 deliveries in a row went unfulfilled, and it looked like I'd missed today's delivery of 5 fluid vessels as well. I found a mysterious pillar I couldn't use, scrapped Hexa, and in a stroke of luck, this rocket fuel man dropped exactly what I've been searching for.
It's Rocket Man! Gotta get lonely up there. Oh, 3 rope.
Keen on getting that rope out safely, I used an artifact curse and sent it home pronto. Among my belongings, I also found a new ring, an anti-fire amulet offering some level of fire resistance. Removing the Golem King amulet dropped my HP by almost 100 points, but I opted for the fire resistance anyway. Bagging one last chest and entering the penultimate boss room, I hurried home to Vulcan's Forge for the final tier 3 upgrade, the fabric bandana.
This is just gonna take forever to get all these items.
I reckon another 50 hours at my current pace, but at least it was finally time to face the Keeper of the Desert. I grabbed my required janitorial equipment, got a good night's sleep, and rushed to uncover whatever was hiding under that humongously large fabric. I was off to a bad start. His tail segments exploded in every direction, and his triangular face was completely immune to my swinging sword. When he finally reverted back into worm mode, his rear end became vulnerable to my assault, something he clearly took a charging issue with. His tail end also fired off an annoying set of fire minions. I guess pandemonium is a suitable word for the chaos when he once again shut off his segmented tail in defense. And stretching out for the zooming bumper cars turned out to be a very bad idea. And before getting run over, I restarted, and felt something in my knees. This guy would be trouble. Focusing on bringing down one of the bumper cars first, he got agitated, of course, discharging an inferno and turning his attention directly my way.
No. No, 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 no! Please, 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 please. Don't make me beg.
I wasn't on all fours or anything, but that definitely sounded like begging to me. Anyway, I managed to shut down the game just in time, preserving the save's integrity.
He's chasing me!
I tried deflecting the fire sprites, but it seemed a bit random at times, and I was almost skewered like a pig.
No, he... What the fuck? Okay, well, I got hit, so... Oh, getting the last hit with the broom on this boss is gonna be so hard. It's gonna be a pain in the... kneecaps. PlayStation. Whoop!
His movement pattern was like a train with someone janking random levers, sending it careening down erratic tracks. I tried to anticipate where it'd end up, jump to the front of the queue, lash out as many hits as possible, and then dodge a sudden gut-piercing move. Attempt number 5 was a great one. I displaced 2 bumper cars quickly and started nagging away at the third.
What's he doing? What's he doing? I can't see anything.
Out of position for his reassembly, I had a hard time dodging his high-velocity head discharge.
No, he got me!
He'd get me a few more times before my energy for this whole ordeal began to dwindle.
Oh no, I got hit, but why did I roll into lava? What's the matter with you, Will? Submerge yourself in lava and you're gonna have a bad time. When you lava when you shouldn't lava, you're gonna have a bad time.
Like most of this fight, it was a bad time. Each body segment had its own attack pattern. The one scribbled with circles fired rotating streams of fireballs, while the triangular one spat balls of lava.
Bring it on!
In charge of spitting out fire sprites was the square one, while Mr. Rumbus unleashed a ring of fire in bursts of 2. I was unaware of it at the time, and thought it all to be random.
Oh. I accidentally changed to my broom and try to use it as a shield. Usually a wooden broom is not suitable for shield usage.
Usually.
Does anybody have a pro gamer tip? I've not been hit. This is it. This is it. This is the one. This is not the one. My body, mind, and soul is torn. For each failure divides my soul into pieces.
I had a Voldemort situation going on.
It's the no-hit thing that troubles me so, because otherwise he's such an easy boss.
I'd agree with that assessment. Rarely taking heavy damage, and with 5 healthy potions available, I could jam this worm on my hook whenever I so pleased. But there was also the issue with the broom.
No! 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 No!
You know, here in the edit, I almost count myself lucky. I didn't even see the first hit register, and if I'd managed to finish him off, I might have screwed myself 10 times over trying to figure out why I didn't get the achievement later.
No! He turns? What the turns? You gotta use your signals!
License to wiggle and squirm, revoked.
I understand now. I see now. The errors of my ways. I haven't taken a nice soak before going into battle. Oh! So many hours. So many attempts. Of course, this soak. That's gonna soak up all my failures. I didn't soak enough. That's one. Oh! Fallujah! Fallujah!
So close to success. Something ricocheted. But I had yet to test how many hits it would take to bring him down. And 3 slashes would do the job before I'd whip out the broom. I decided to replace the barrier amulet, since impacts often eluded my gaze. So I equipped the Wanderer amulet, increasing my damage by 5%, with a small off chance of summoning the green goo monster with each attack.
This is taking too long! Oh no! I got hit again! You have to be so up and close and personal with the broom to your victim that the victim has a chance of killing you. Makes no sense.
Self-defense should obviously not be allowed.
This is fun. We're having fun.
The fight's unpredictability had me cornered, and sometimes you're just off your mark, you know?
Ah! 1, 2, 3. Oh, for fuck's sake! The 5% ring just f me. Oh, everybody you could do.
After attempt number 147 and another near triumph,
No!
I decided it was time for a change.
I mean, I know it's not the problem, but I think I might change my approach here. I might just go for a no-hit run, screw the broom, get the perfect achievement, and then quickly just restart the game and then slash through the boss with a lot of healing potions and just kill him with the broom. Is that possible? Let's do that, because I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
I don't think anyone is gonna argue with that. Clearly. I pressed on, leaving the janitorial achievement for my next sub-10-hour playthrough.
Oh! And then you turn. Ugh! I'm not even able to follow through with my backup plan, my safety net.
Considering how many tries it had taken so far, and how many it would take to finally breathe victory, I'd say the plan worked, when I finally released an exhausted exhale of relief. And earned the achievement I most likely could have gotten hours ago.
Thank you. Then I have the broom thing left. But my god! So much suffering unnecessarily. I've been a stupid I can't say I have to be sorry.
Yeah, I'm very sorry I can't fill your ear canals with profanity, an otherwise lifelong goal of mine. The chest was a little bit of a letdown. All I got for defeating this tin can was a bunch of books. But another lock clicked open, and who else would show up but the grumpy old man, cursing my advancements. It's like he had his own stakes in the game, mostly interested in covering his own skin should I perish in the dungeons, while also pointing me toward yet another round of costly shop upgrades, including an assistant.
I'll be on my way, no more need for an old man's rambling, I suppose. I already have an assistant, who I'm not willing to pay.
The penultimate dungeon was now open for business.
Naya amulet. Ring that boosts the owner's health in exchange for some attack power. No, not going to do that.
With a light coin purse, I headed back to the desert. I also needed to reach floor 3 a few more times, so I smashed the two objectives together.
You're just wandering around, not buying, you're just browsing. You're a shopkeep's worst nightmare. Somebody buy the cores. There's 66,000, come on. What are you, peasants? Open up your wallets. Thief.
I locked eyes with my potential burglar and peered into her soul. Foul, black, drenched in fear. As she went for the register, I beat her up and took her wallet, sort of like robbing the robber. Then I accepted a contract to collect 5 Wolfram Rock for 90,000, all while my purse started to overflow with gold.
$500,000. $500,000 so far, people. $500,000.
It all rounded up to over 650,000 in profit.
Wow-wow-wee-wow.
Wow-wow-wee-wow indeed. I ran a few productive visits to the desert, with various degrees of success, so I scooted over into the new neighboring tech dungeon.
Silicon Valley. We meet again. It's got a nice feel to it. It's cozy.
There wasn't anything cozy about 12,000 volts running through your body though. After manhandling the first 2 rooms, I was already facing the first floor foe, who looked suspiciously like a Pokemon, archetype Electric. He was a bit tanky, though not very damaging, and his electrical discharges were easily avoidable. Naturally, his drops were that of an old handheld radio. Flying mini-saucers were now a thing, none as dangerous as the electrical downpour spewing from this overcharged light bulb. But they were hard to lose, hovering over every obstacle, and jumping back to town now cost 20,000 gold. That is 60,000 for a round trip. In this crossover period, still missing the blue jelly goo for the stronger alternative, I settled for 10 healing potions level 3. Electrified beetles. If you've ever had the displeasure, you would know their irritating discharge. I couldn't throw 2 swings without getting the shock treatment, so 1 bonk and dodge at a time.
Upon further inspection, the registered positional errors appears to be associated with dimensional rift energy. Of course! That's what I thought.
A tougher tango came from the corrupted oscillator. I kept getting slapped by his rotating coils. 1 too many times, and called it.
Let's leave. What is those? What is that? What is
Something suddenly materialized at the edge of the room, right where I was standing. I didn't want to, but I reverted to grinding the desert dungeon for top coin, forgetting I already had all the tier 3 items in the bag. But I was still missing 3 Ghostbuster contraptions for the King Shortsword, though I had enough for the bandana, which yielded a small roar of success.
This row is complete. Hell yeah.
And I crafted the steel chestplate 4, doubling both completed rows and health points in a single heartbeat.
Put your hair in a bun. Let's get cracking.
In a rare fulfillment, I completed a quest collecting 5 fluid conductors, and with every upgrade piece now marked, I could sell anything not highlighted.
I don't always enjoy being at people. But when I do, it's women.
I declined this tasty beefcake's request for 10 notes from Sparky Beetles, but filled the pipeline with more reasonable requests. And I'm not ashamed to admit, I still cross-reference my prices with the Moonlighter wiki. Profit margins were now ridiculous, perfectly fueling my unhealthy addiction to armor enchantments and expensive potions. I whacked a grove of overgrown plants for some tree gold, jumped back into a hectic tech run, found more of Pete's notes, and joined a potion of a decomposed dead guy. I mostly mechanically tanked damage during the first floor boss, a mindless fight situation. And just as mindless was this tall, blue transistor with creepy legs wandering aimlessly.
To me, you seem kind of worthless. Oh, took it personally.
The transistor sparked new life into old hardware, so I focused my fire on those first from here on out.
Whoa, what is that? Ah! Kill the brain.
The electrical brain fungus wrapped the flying massage tool in a protective shield, but it only delayed the inevitable.
Let's go.
Let's go indeed. I discovered that the green wall-attached goo fired off a grid of electrical beams. Very naughty. And I don't think I had the minimum specs to manhandle this spherical idiot. So it was a long, glorious fight, with many a popped potions. In the end, I shattered his inner glass bubble, traversed to level 3, did the pop-out and in maneuver, and, with the map uncovered, focused on reeling in as many chests as possible, until nearly becoming fodder for a chest myself. At day's end, I had amassed a small fortune, 1,000,000 gold worth of fortune. My inventory was brimming with unused materials, barely worth their own weight. So, to free up some space, I crossed off a bunch of useless armor and weapons, then asked my assistant to move a bit of merchandise while I clean up the rest of the tech dungeon, reaching the final door before jumping back out. I also managed to find the last of Pete's notes, so that was good. Pete ultimately realized that heroes and merchants were, in truth, peers, neither above the other. Well done, Pete.
Balance 345,000.
If my math is correct, which I highly doubt, she walked away with over 100,000 gold. What a sly business mix. I ended up back in the dungeons. A few welders short, I again focused on grabbing as many chests as possible.
Go to town!
I had my suspicions she was lowballing my items, or at the very least keeping a larger slice of the cake than we agreed upon. So I went into work that day.
A thief. And it's red again. You didn't get away last time, you're not gonna get away this time. There's also not much for you to actually steal, there's just one item left. What are you gonna do? There's no items left, Red. Let's see if she tries to steal something that doesn't exist. Shall we?
Taken aback by the lack of a mark, I ended her suffering and closed the store. The final King Short Sword upgrade was quite costly, so I figured I might as well toss on the enchantment right away.
It's gonna give me a little bit of boost. It's gonna give me a little bit of boost. Like it.
Thanks to that round of upgrades, I could now ravage my way to the 3rd floor with minimal resistance, and I primed myself for another masochist session.
Alright. I'm ready to feel some pain again. Let's go. See what we have. Electrifying stuff.
Not by any stretch of the imagination, but our new nemesis was a charged up ball of energy. Despite 2 red lightning bolts spinning, vanishing teleportations, and assuming enraged mode, my first attempt went pretty darn well. During the second, I had to dodge an electrical minefield, and I grew suspicious. It felt too easy. I reached too far with minimal effort. But I guess I just unlocked the god gamer hidden deep inside my meaty flesh bag, because after attempt number 4, his electrons bounced no more. And as you can tell, I really reveled in my accomplishment.
Defeat energy flux. And I think it was perfected as well.
I considered reloading to finish off this fragile ball of glass with a broom, but decided to save that for my second playthrough. I wasn't sure if the achievement would even carry over or count, since I hadn't swept the third one either.
This is so much easier, by the way. Oh my god.
The chest gave me the usual collection of books, along with a few bits of electrical components. Then I beelined to the 5th door.
Finally. The 5th door will reveal its secrets. What will Grandpapa say?
Updated with the current events, the old man informed me that the 5th door was now open, and finally gave crazy old Pete the recognition he deserved. Not so crazy now, is he?
If I asked you to leave it be, to not go into the 5th door, would you listen?
No, I don't think I will. But I wasn't necessarily ready to poke my head through that final door just yet, unaware of what the repercussions might mean for my playthrough. So I decided it best to cross off a few things first. And when I say a few, I actually mean a whole lot. Probably more than I had achieved up to this point. So buckle up. With almost all the materials needed for every craftable item, the only thing missing was gold. A lot of gold. Easily solved if I could get my hands on a few more of those incredibly valuable books. So I pummeled through as many dungeons runs as I could muster, with great fatigue, as I was really getting into the grindy portion of the game.
Ooh, can do.
You know, I really didn't like paying my assistant, but she earned that $0 an hour salary chasing off thieves. After a few more days of hustling, I could afford 8 new armor pieces, and a lot of them went for around $250,000 back at the store. Juicy profits. But not everyone was looking for such unaffordable luxuries, so for the lower class, I generously displayed some magic wood. All extravagantly overpriced, of course. With additional renovations, I finally got what I had worked so hard for. the admiration of the handyman. And he'd done a really good job too. This very flashy golden register convinced customer to add an extra 40% tip when paying, which is absolutely outrageous. And I got a brand new bed just because, why not? I picked up some new decorations for the store and talked to this very gross kid singing my praises. Good kid. Then I bashed a tree, did the same to a slime, found a luck amulet that boosted drops by 20%, and checked the critter pen. Still missing 2 companions.
Craft all short weapons. Nice!
The store upgrade also came with a new mechanic.
Do I need to convince you? Attend. Oh, okay. I'm a salesman.
I don't know why I was so surprised. I'd literally owned the store my entire life.
What happened? Oh, a bird. Flying nuisance.
I put a high-tier sword up for sale, and someone practically snatched it from my hands for $500,000. We've come a long way from selling leaves for a couple of gold.
Oh, no, you don't. Haha. Lilla jäkel.
I woke up in a shopping mood.
That is one big sword. Whoa.
I had to try it out, and it was wild. Maybe a bit clunky. The grind continued, but I'm happy to report I flipped basically every single item I crafted, so it wasn't a total loss. And I often left the store in Bernadette's hands. Yeah, that's right, I named her, even though her prices were most likely completely skewed.
1 mil. Seems like you me.
I found one of the missing eggs and discovered I could defeat multiple waves of enemies by activating this pillar, upgrading the chest after each wave. By now, I had run through the desert dungeon enough to unlock this little cheeky achievement. And with that last egg, I finally had my minions, all 13 of them.
Didn't I need to do that? Was it just all... oh, was it just all weapons? I didn't really need to craft all the other stuff. Oh my god. Oh my god. And you were ripping me off as usual.
A bit disillusioned by the whole thing, I murdered my way through the forest and tech dungeons multiple times, until I had reached the 3rd floor 10 times each.
Let's see if we can disappoint some people.
I was on a terrible merchant hot streak, both annoying my customers by not providing any service and taking them for every penny they had. I priced my items just above the pain threshold, enough to make them disappointed but not enough to stop them from buying.
Shop's closed. Everybody leave. I need an early day.
Freed from my duties, I went to have a look at the competition.
This is gameplay. Is this the slime? I don't think it's the slime, but I'm still gonna hit it.
It was in fact the slime.
I can't find another slime. Gotta be this one. That's the one. Now this is gameplay.
A few more swings finally yielded what I was after, and after a persuasive little chat with the banker, I decided on a modest investment of 10,000 gold. I woke up the next day with excitement, and the aristocratic bloke had delivered on his promise. A massive 4% return on my investment. I could, of course, roll the dice for another day or two, but greed doesn't make good business, so I happily withdrew my earnings. The grind was absolute. The number of enemies I would have to silence were that of 10,000, with a few milestones sprinkled along the way for each dungeon. By a stroke of luck, I completed the notebook with the anti-electric amulet. Could have used that a while back, you know, when I first started dipping my toes into the high voltage pools, and my sound judgment slowly faded with every new investment, as I began increasing the purse in rather large increments.
Of course.
But I'm ice cold. The blood of Warren Buffett runs in these veins.
Kill 1,000 tech enemies. Nice. I'm gonna leave right away.
And put my entire life savings into the hands of the Monopoly guy.
It's bet it all. 6 million. 6.5 million. You better not lose it, buddy.
Life as an investor has its valleys, as they say.
Down 75%? Ouch!
There were a few sleepless nights, not gonna lie.
We're up 31%. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Earn money from the banker 5 times. I almost have 10 million.
Those millions would be key going forward.
You know, with all investments and compound interest and all that stuff, capitalism basically taken care of, I think it is time to find out the mystery of this 5th door.
Sucked into a portal for what could be the last time, I entered unknown territory, full of
green funky fluid. Is that a vegetable? It's a vegetable creature.
There were hemorrhaging parsnips everywhere, and a very familiar-looking turtleneck wearer.
That stupid min. Error! Error!
The data I managed to retrieve suggested that the parsnips had sent someone away with 4 keys and initiated protocol lock the door. They estimated a month would be enough to lose their pursuer. Deeper inside, I found the establishment sphincter, and it was a slippery slope.
Oh!
sliding all the way to the dungeon's core.
It's our alien overlords.
Confusing myself for a rescue party, the socially deprived brain slug pirate rambled on about his plan to pillage countless more systems. Then he abruptly turned on me.
Last dimensional pirate. What are you doing?
Surprisingly nimble, he violently swung his sword in an attempt to sever my head from my body.
What?
But I am Will, the stubborn merchant.
I'm not gonna use a potion. Ah! Ooh!
He slithered back from whence he came, then returned after aggressively inflating himself. And I swear the sound effect they used in the background is this, with a little reverb slapped on it.
Oh no! He's summoning tiny brain slugs.
With great length and penetrative mechanics, his tentacles were a threat. So we joined each other in a warm embrace, and I tickled his belly button so hard it induced an umbilical hernia, causing a leak of overflowing gastric juice. Cut to old man, arguing with someone.
Listen here now, you can't just shut down the dungeons and forbid entry. Just who do you think you are?
The dungeons, as it turned out, were not dungeons at all, but interdimensional structures. It was all prefaced with it being a very complicated matter, and that they had been hunting the offending party for quite some time.
You keep saying them. Who are these them? Dimensional pirates. What? Dimensional pirates? Dimensional pirates.
Pirates made entirely out of dimensional fluid, with the sole purpose of stealing from other dimensions. Enter Will. Or exit Will. Most impressed by my handling of the jellyfish robot, and more or less completing his mission, he issued a statement.
For taking part in the theft of other dimensional artifacts, everyone on this planet will be arrested.
But due to my heroics, the thieving part would be left out of the report. Unfortunately, this also marked the end of the dungeons. He added that he'd like to wipe our minds, but after a previous bad experience, that was also off the table. Thank God. Instead, we'd be invited to the ICT and allowed to trade with other dimensions. And that was that.
Okay. Peace!
Following my enjoyment of the end credits, my euphoria was ephemeral and quickly diminished, because it was time to jump into New Game Plus, beat the game in under 10 hours, and let's not forget, the back pain of finishing off a couple of bosses with a broom.
What do I wake up with? Do I wake up with my cash? I do, I wake up with all my cash. My cash. My cash. Go on now, these weary bones of mine must rest.
My gear had also carried over. Sad thing was, my sword wasn't as sharp as it once was. I barely put a dent in the homunculi. But believe it or not, my skill level was actually quite a bit higher than when I first entered the Golem dungeon all those faithful hours ago. So I barged forward, and within a quarter of an hour, I stood face to face with the rocky slug once more. With my damage severely reduced, it took a fair bit of time, but he was ultimately swept away, all achieved in under 15 minutes.
Meet him halfway, Will. Come on, he's old. He doesn't have any ligaments left. Knees are all just bone against bone.
I'm sure that was anatomically described correctly. By the time I reached the Forest Guardian, I had upgraded my sword to tier 2+. And this is when the pre-acquired gold came in handy, because everything had a rather hefty price tag attached to it.
Die, you eggplant! I'm gonna stop here, Sidon. My legs tired. Let's go to the desert dungeon, shall we?
I died. But I'm happy to announce that this rust bucket fell to my broom first try, and the reflex orb followed suit pretty quickly.
Hey, kill all bosses with the broom, with the fur, they hit the floor.
More gastric juice fell from the heavens, and
beat the game under 10 hours, there it is. Take a bow, goat-like behavior on the first try.
I then did something immaculately stupid. It's up there in the Hall of Fame of stupidity. I spent an embarrassing amount of times grinding for an achievement I had already unlocked a couple of days prior. Endless runs, desperately trying to snag a potion bottle from the brittle fingers of a fallen hero.
What? Has it been triggered and I haven't noticed it? Or has it just... I'm pretty sure I haven't seen an achievement with this healthcare system pop up. Has it?
Oh, it has, and you've seen it.
An achievement? Take potions? From breakables 20 times. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was a total waste of time. With one major achievement left on the board, killing a total of 10,000 enemies, I went down the honorable road at first. But honestly, these kind of achievements just suck the joy out of a game. I derive nothing from them. They only drag on for hours and hours and hours. So the brighter minds of the internet had a solution for this. Select a hero companion and let him carry this one out for you. Just place him here, while you go do something more productive. It went on for quite some time. I obviously didn't get to witness the greatness, but after rebooting the game, the ultimate accolade quietly dropped into my mailbox.
Ooh blah beep, ooh blah blah. Yay! Well, why don't you get a job?
And that was that. 100 glorious % achieved.
Woohoo, they say. Woohoo.